Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. I feel like it's been a while. Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your humble host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a man of humility who is learning nothing but humility. Not from any of this. No. I'm learning humility from my own personal studies. And this is Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I botched this intro by talking, which was, I guess, for the best. I don't know. Man, the past week has been really foggy for me. I talked about this a little bit on Saturday. I'm not going to rehash all the details. Basically, I've been dealing with, I dealt with sick kids for the end of last week, and maybe I'm sick. I don't know. I had egg rolls the other day. I think, Wednesday of last week, I had some egg rolls. So maybe I'm spreading the coronavirus to everybody. Maybe it's my fault. I'm sorry. I don't know. I am tired and exhausted, and today I'm coughing. So I'm probably about 8.5 days from death. But that's okay. That's okay. And that's why tonight I'm going to share with you. So I've been going back and forth about, I've been waffling on this, but today cemented it. We're going to start. I don't know if we're going to get through all of it, but I have spent the past 2 days having a conversation. I mean, if you can call it a conversation, with Ronald Toye. Messaged me. I want to point out, at no point in this suit, in this online fiasco, have I reached out to try and talk to or engage the defendants. Never. And there's good reason, because I am accused over and over of harassing these people, right? Of somehow engaging in some level of harassment. This guy has sent a bar complaint a while back saying that I harassed him by talking about him in a public place that I didn't send to him. I didn't broadcast it to him. I didn't, kidnap his cat and force him to watch it or whatever. I didn't do anything other than I just talked about them. Now, I talk about them a lot. I find their case and their situation very, very interesting, of course. But I have never, ever said, sent them the link and been like, watch it, or sent the link to their relatives or stuff. Never. I don't engage them. It's not my place. He has, on several occasions, reached out to me, the most recently being just the other day. And that, I guess, has sparked a long chat with some smiley emojis in it. And so I'm going to share. I shared, early snippets of that conversation. I think we're gonna kind of go through it. We'll go through the good and the bad. At first, I didn't share it because he sent me some stuff initially, and then he sent me. I showed some of it on stream, right? And then I got a different character of message, and it was much nicer and more polite. And I was like, okay, I get this game, right? You find out that someone's going to potentially read what you're going to say, and then you start crafting your narrative, right? You start building it out in the way you want it to sound when it comes out. So once I was like, this is pretty simple manipulation. So I'm not going to read it. That was easy enough. Didn't read it. But I said that Ron sent me a message. It was nicer. And that was why I wasn't going to read it. Because I figured he was playing to the audience at that point. But then he kept going. And over the past 48 hours, I have gotten novels worth of messages. So I figured if he wants them shared, I'll share them. There's nothing in there that's secret. There's nothing in there that's confidential. There's no doxing involved or anything like that. We're just going to go ahead and talk about this conversation. And you guys can make of it what you will. Maybe I'm the monster. Maybe I'm the bad guy. You guys can see they're a treasure. They're a treasure in their own way because they allow you insight into what's going on in Ron's head. And it's an interesting place to be. So I'm going to show them. I'll show you my responses. This will be fully open. Nothing will be redacted. I don't know if we're going to get to it today, to all of it today. I don't know. I might drag this out because at the end of the day, this is the grift, right? And the grift has a solemn duty to go on. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. First, before that, we're going to cover the appeal extension. I'll give my thoughts on that. Talk about what's actually in the document. And then I have just a couple little news stories that we'll probably take a peek at. I know people want me to talk about the SCP Foundation. The difficult part in talking about SCP is they filed the trademark under the Russian trademark law, or the weirdo guy filed a trademark under the Russian trademark law. And I don't know anything about the Russian trademark system, right? I have an entry-level legal knowledge to the U.S. trademark system. Typically, I would rely on my man Stephen Birch for trademark questions because, I can explain the basics of it, but that's what, one of the things that he does is one of his practice areas. And so I would typically lean on someone like him, but this is a different case. SCP, it's like secure, control, protect or something. It's creepypasta stories. Secure, contain, protect. That's right. Thank you. It's creepypasta. And what it is this crowdsourced sort of almost like a Wikipedia of creepy stories, of creepypastas, right? And, God, I was going to make a dad joke about linguini. I'm just going to not. I'm sorry. That's the Chinese sickness coming through. Billion more jokes where that came from. So, because that joke is dead on a non-existent hospital cot. Anyway, it's a creepypasta, and so you have independent creators contributing to this body of work, right? You have this body of work that's there, and they have a Creative Commons license, which is a license agreement for submission. And the long and short of it is, when you submit, you give up the exclusive copyright to your work, sort of. You you enter into the commons license, which means that anyone else who's a part of the commons license can borrow whatever you said without any compensation to you, as long as they attribute the creation to you. So you write a story about some like eldritch horror annihilating a Russian village, and then I make a shirt and put the title of your story on that shirt, and then put Tulsi Gabbard, who is a Russian asset, obviously, as the eldritch horror murdering a bunch of Russian babies in like some artwork on the shirt. Well, when I advertise that shirt, I don't have to pay you anything for your Russian eldritch horror story. All I have to do is attribute the original concept to you. I have to credit that, but that's how that works. But there's this guy who is apparently a contributor or something, and he has decided to trademark the SCP intellectual property under Russian law as his own, which is a little, kind of a weird thing. So now they're all freaking out about it. So, I don't know what to really say about it. Again, since it's under the Russian system, I'm not really familiar, but I'll be doing some research on it. If I can come up with some useful video for you, I will. And that'll be fun. But yeah, let me pull up this document for Vic, and then we'll get started. Oh, but I think I have what I was getting to. God, someday my brain is going to work normal again. I've got a couple stories that we might want to just touch on a little bit. There's some big cases out there right now, and big stuff happening. Of course, there's that little impeachment thing that's been going on. I mean, I guess that matters to an extent, but it really does it though? Does it? They know what's going to happen. They haven't brought enough evidence against Trump that he did something wrong to convince the other Congress people that there is a reason to go against their voters. They just haven't done that. And if they can't do that, then Republicans are going to say, well, look, if I go against my constituents on this, I don't get reelected. And all I do is I remove Trump from office, who's in my party. What do I gain from this? They have to be convinced that that what Trump did was wrong enough to merit the political cost. They didn't do that. They haven't done that. So impeachment, of course, is going to fizzle out and be nothing. May end up rallying Trump's base going into the 2020 election. That would be the funniest thing that could have happened, especially if, some of these people had to take risky positions or compromised positions, and that ends up getting them unelected too. That'd be great. That's what I hope. Let's see. Okay, let's do these super chats, and then I've got the first document here pulled up. Oh my. All right, go away thing. There we go. Oh, how are you guys doing? Have any of you guys come down with the coronavirus or whatever? I hope not. All right, Freighter J says, in the Lord's name, let us all take a moment to remember Jamie Markey has really, really, I mean really ugly feet. That's a worthy prayer. Thank you for that, brother. Thank you for that. West Nile Chan says, what's that? West Nile Chan is evolving. Doot, 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 doot. West Nile Chan has evolved into Corona Chan. Did you guys see the story about that giant mosquito? That had to be fake, right? Like, that had to be fake. Some big, like this big mosquito. It was probably more like that big, but God, it looked horrifying. I bet every time he sees it, Lemoyne has a heart attack. West Nile Chan says Nick should have been a wizard. According to Tolkien, they can never be late, but J.K. Rowling can make them gay. Oh, God. That was good. Nick's Hex says, the real tragedy about the coronavirus is not the 132 deaths, but the fact that I now have to hide my West Nile Best Nile mug because of my corporate environment. Oh, come on. Why would... What, they think the coronavirus is better than West Nile? What kind of racists are they? Clearly don't like Africa. That's where the West Nile is, right? I don't know where else there would be any Nile. Oh my goodness. Here we go. I'm going to take some tonic here. Take some tonic. Sorry. Gonna have some Aberlour Abunad. Abunad. I don't know Scottish. They say they speak English. I don't believe them. I don't believe them at all. This is keeping the illnesses at bay. All right. Gadamlu says, move over, West Nile Chan. Good luck, Corona Chan. Oh, no, West Nile Chan can't go away. She's done too much good work so far. The Pie Baker says, hey, Ronald McCuckold, I know you're watching while shoving the remote control in places it should never go. How does it feel having Vic's sloppy seconds? Oh, God. How does it feel knowing that every job your whale of a sugar mama got came from Sabbath's balls? Have you guys seen that Monica is doing if you listen, if you're a fatso and you need to get in shape, you better get on the Monica workout train. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Let me get this pulled up for you. Just in case. Look, if you're a fatso, you got to know. You got to make sure you get see. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. I got to take away any potential identifying information from this. You know, I don't want this person to be bothered who sent this to me. So we're just going to go. This is an Instagram post by, look, I'm just saying. Here we go. Where are we? Oh, my God. There you go. That's it, guys. Attention realism fans. Free 2-week workout plan with workout guidance videos done by the one and only Monica. Workout, get results, get lifted. So, in case you guys need to get worked out, you can work out with a professional coach, with a paragon of fitness. In other news, I'll be selling my workout program of sitting on my chair drinking whiskey. I'll sell that to you too. It's free also. Like, you're looking at the plethora of workout programs. You're like, okay, all right, who do we got? We got that Jillian chick or whatever. She's got like an 8-pack abs. Okay, we've got Julianne Hough. She's got one. She's like, 12 pounds in good shape. You've got, I don't know, who else does workout videos? Anybody? Whoever. You got all the beach body people or whatever. They're all cut and they got monstrous swimsuit, like monstrous swimsuit bods on. And then you've got Monica's video. And you're like, you know what? That's the one I want right there. That's what we're looking for. That's the one. Oh my gosh. Come on. No. Anyway, thanks to the person who sent that to me. You know who you are. That's fantastic. It ruined my entire day. Okay, so this is the Court of Appeals request for extension. And Tillip. Thank you. Yes, I saw you sent me the thumbnail. I just didn't get to my computer in time to get it put up before the show. I'll get it added after the show. Thanks, buddy. And you're right. The best workout program is a $14 copay on prescription drugs. You guys just get yourself some Ritalin or Adderall as prescribed by your doctor, and you just won't want to eat, but you will want to save the world. Okay. In the Court of Appeals, 2nd District, Fort Worth, Texas. So this is an unopposed motion for extension of time to file the appellant's brief. I was saying a while ago that you guys should expect extensions on this stuff. Extensions happen on appeals all the time. All the time. You got to remember that the record in this case is well over 1,000 pages. You've got 25 plus matters that are being appealed. This is a complex appeal. And if you couple that in with the fact that this isn't the only case that the law firms involved have, and that's all of the firms on the plaintiff's side and all of the firms on the defendant's side presumably have more than one matter going on, right? When you combine all of that, appeals they have to be well done. They have to be very careful and very thorough, because this is your chance to undo what you think the wrong of the trial court was. You better get it right. So I know there are people out there who want like an explanation or whatever. The explanation is in the document, so we'll take a look at that. But the reality is that this is part of the process. Extensions are very, very common, and especially in appeals that are at all complicated, you're going to have extensions, and the appeals court is going to be happy to grant those extensions so long as there's not some sort of abuse going on or some sort of prejudice to the other side. Since this is the first brief in the case, there's no reason anybody would be opposed to this, and no reason the trial court or the appellate court wouldn't grant it. But let's go through it real quick. Wes Nilchan says, Monica's just suffering for bad focus testing. Her workout should extol the virtue of building up a thick layer of blubber that can absorb the shock of small objects like remotes. Okay, here we go. Vig Mignogna requests that the court grant an extension of time to February 18th, 2020. Just as a spoiler alert, this was granted by the appeals court. This is fine. This is appellate's first request for an extension of time. Factual and procedural background. Appellate file was notice of appeal on October 24th. Clerk's record was initially filed on November 15th and supplemented on November 26th and December 5th. Reporter's record was filed on January 6th. January 7th, the Court of Appeals notified appellant's counsel that appellant's brief was due January 27th, 2020. Arguments and authorities. The Court of Appeals may extend the time for filing a brief. Texas Rules of Appellate Procedure 38.6d. Appellate courts inquire whether there is a reasonable explanation for the requested extension. See NREJI. Here, the attention of appellate's counsel has been required in multiple other matters predating the court's January 7th notice. So they're going to go through a bunch of cases that they have going on right now. And I want to point out, I believe that An Lee may have also just come back from his vacation, something like that. So you've got the holidays, people have been catching up, people have been taking vacations, all sorts of stuff has been going on. Again, this all factors in, and it's not really any one thing that makes you unable to file an appeal. There's a bunch of things, but let's see. So they've got discovery in this cause, Hubbard versus Kilaru et al. In the 402nd District Court of Wood County. ABS Telecom LLC versus People's Telephone Cooperative in the 417th District Court of Collin County. Court-ordered scheduling conference in Swanson versus Shannon Clinic. In the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas, San Angelo Division. Hearing in cause number whatever, estate of Alberta Marie Owen, deceased, in the County Court of Smith County, and a multi-million-dollar transaction involving filings with the Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice. And let me just humbly suggest that that these types of deals take lots and lots of time and lots of work. And so, there's just work that has to be done, and there's never enough man hours for the work. Appellate's counsel need more time to prepare and file appellate's brief and request an extension of the filing deadline to February 18th, 2020. Since appellee's briefs are not due until after appellant's brief is filed, there's no material injury to appellees by the court granting this extension. Moreover, appellees do not oppose this motion. Accordingly, appellant respectfully requests the Court of Appeals grant the motion, blah, blah, blah. So let's see, 20 days after January 27th is February 16th, which is a Sunday, and the next day, February 17th, is a holiday, President's Day. The next day that is not a Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday is Tuesday, February 18th, 2020, which is in the rule there. And so then the undersigned certifies that on January 24th, he conferred via email with John Volney of Lynn's Pincock's Hertz for Funimation. They don't oppose. Sam Johnson does not oppose. Sean Lemoyne does not oppose the relief requested. So this was all confirmed apparently over the weekend or on Friday or whatever. And then Monday they filed the request for extension. It was granted. It's a big nothing burger. Of course, T. Gregory decided to pop off about it, stating how they were begging the other side for an extension. Okay, man. I mean, if that's what you need, if you need to lie about a routine extension request, I guess. I don't know why you need to lie about it, but I guess. It's a weird world. The world of Twitter addicted creepo. I don't know how to classify this guy. He's such a dummy. Such a dummy. TB/AI says, here's $20 towards buying those Monica videos, playing and commenting on them during a stream. I wouldn't be able to play all of them. That's a fast way to get copy struck. We'll see. Maybe we can do something about it. Jason Alator says, West Nile Chan. Hey, Corona, what are you doing here? Corona Chan says, I'm taking over. The lemon party is over. Oh no. Don't end the lemon party. Don't end West Nile Chan. She's too young. Too young. Taken too soon. So, God, I really don't want to. I try not to be too rude. I fail often. At this, but I try not to be too rude. I cannot imagine watching one of those videos and not hating every single second of it. So anyway, that's what we got on this Court of Appeals thing. It's again, it's really basic. It's really common. Some appeals cases have several extensions granted because law offices are busy and appeals are lots of work. They asked for 20 days plus the holidays, so 22 days. We'll see. I just hope they put together a great brief. You know, again, it's one of those things where I'm left waiting in the same way you guys are. Or am I? Dun, dun, dun. This will make more sense during the Ronversation piece, I think. When we all find out that I've been secretly working the case by myself all along, or whatever. Just pick a theory and throw a dart at the board of theories, and you'll get it eventually. Okay. Let's see. I was going to talk about there's a couple cases out there that are crazy things. Just for a couple minutes, and then we're going to do the Ronversation. I don't know. I don't think we're going to go the full 3 hours tonight because, again, guys, when I say I'm exhausted, I am exhausted. I am physically exhausted. So I probably am going to, we'll do the Ronversation in just a second here, and then I'll probably turn in. I don't think I'm going to do Twitch tonight. I'm just, I've had to the past week. My sleep has been interrupted several times for viscera cleanup detail, like Shadow Warriors, right? And that is just absolutely devastating to my energy levels. And since I never want to be a Jeb Bush, trying to bring those energy levels back up. Making another Kid Fuentes won't. No, I think Lady Rackets and I are relatively done making other kids. I mean, you never know what could happen, but I wouldn't, I'm not playing those odds. Felipe Move It says, hello, Nikki. I've been sending my goons to your house for days with a flammable surprise, but they haven't found you yet. You can run. You know what? Your goons are the laziest goons ever, and I yelled at them a lot today, Felipe. I feel I'm really, really frustrated by them. Really, really frustrated by them. So, thank you. You are wonderful. And I tried. You know what they told me today when I called them and I was like, hey, can I make some sort of arrangement here because you guys haven't delivered the thing you're supposed to deliver? And they said, oh, you should have called us yesterday. Well, I didn't know that it was attempted to deliver yesterday until like late. So I just called you right away in the morning. They're like, yeah, you should have known. You have a tracking number. But I didn't know. Like I don't sit and watch the tracking constantly. I didn't know I was going to get it tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to get. Oh boy. Just great. Just absolute trash to your customer service. So fantastic. Cole Kiddo says Vic is coming to my local con February 15th. You think this extension would interfere with that? Does Vic need to be in court for these papers to be looked at? No. This is just the filing of the first brief. Let me lay that out. Okay, so they'll file the brief on February 18th, assuming there's not some weird catastrophe. They'll file the brief on February 18th, and then the appellees will have, I believe, 20 or 30 days. I don't know if, since it's an accelerated appeal, I don't know if they only get 20 days, but they'll have at least 20 or 30 days to go ahead and file their brief. And then you get a response brief for the appellants, which will be another 14 to 30 days out. Again, I think it's a little faster, 14 days. And then the court will set a hearing for argument, or could set a hearing for argument if the parties request it. That will be according to the court's calendar. So you've got February 18th, you've got at least March, probably 15th to 18th, and then you've got April, the beginning of April for the response. And then at some point after that, they'll set a hearing. And that's assuming that no one else files an extension request, right? The defendants will certainly be able to request extensions, to get their briefs done as well. And it's quite likely that they will. They may not, but it's likely that they will, because again, they're very busy. So we're talking about months still on this. And no, Vic does not have to be at any of the hearings. He doesn't have to be at the appeals hearings or anything like that. He may go. I don't know. It's up there. They're open to the public, but who knows? Who knows? But no, there's no like testimony at these hearings. There's just legal arguments from the lawyers and questions from the judges. There's not going to be witnesses called. There's not going to be new evidence presented or anything like that. The appeals brief is really going to be, here is the element of the claim. Here is where it is in the record. Here's where Judge Chupp got it wrong, right? Here you go, 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 here you go. If there's a dispute over what should be in the record or what should have been included, there will be legal arguments and policy arguments made for the inclusion of evidence that, for example, they will probably try to argue that the second amended petition should have been considered by the judge, since the judge refused to strike the second amended petition, and that was improper, right? Like that will probably be an argument they would make. So they would have to make the legal argument that the second amended petition is the legally operative document, as long as it's not struck. Since Judge Chupp never struck it, he just said he didn't consider it, then that was reversible error. And they'll say stuff like that, and then they can point to the second amended petition, but then they can also say, well, in the alternative, here are the other places you can find this argument or this piece of evidence in the record. And they're going to go through and do all of that for every element of every cause of action. That's why this takes so long. They have to put together all of this stuff, find every possible reference, make the arguments if they believe that what they said was not strong enough, or what they presented at the trial court level maybe was misunderstood, for example. They can try and clarify things and justify it, but they have to be specific, and they have to cover every single cause of action and every element of every cause of action against every defendant. It becomes a really Herculean task. And you have a lot of words to do it. I think you have like 27,000 words to do it, but they could also ask for more words because of the complex nature of the matter. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's oh, there are two chats over here. Tall Cat says 2-part series. First, Monica's workout vids, free. Second, overcoming bulimia, 10 grand. Oh no. Felipe Mouve says, don't worry, Nick. I sent the store lady a message about sending the thing again with a better company. Let's see. I'll let you know. Thanks, buddy. And again, if I'm happy to talk to them as well. So. All right. So I've got a couple stories, but I don't know if I feel like incorporating them into this show. I kind of did at first, but now I'm just like, nah. They're just, that seems like it detracts from the overall theme. Plus, again, that whole absurd fatigue thing is really weighing in on me here. So I think maybe we should just move into Ronversations. I think maybe we'll move into Ronversations, and you'll forgive me, and maybe I'll bring on a guest for oh my gosh, for a show with some news topics. I was talking to my man Q earlier today, and we were talking about doing a show, excuse me, covering some current events, covering this whole cancel culture stuff, covering some of the more funny cancellations that have happened, all of that. So who knows? But we'll do the Ron conversation here, and because the legal stories I have right now are just kind of filler. I just find them interesting, so I was going to share. But let's do the Ronversations. With that, let's put a countdown kind of on the show, understanding that it's gonna go quicker, so to speak. Can I, like, no. I don't want to do any of that stuff. Okay. Let me get this framed out right, so I can avoid the doxing of my DMs. Oh, that looks perfect right there. This is... Oh, come on. Here we go. Well, I do not think we're going to get through all of this today, because there's, like I said, there's a lot. So I'm not blue balling you. We're doing it. I just had to get it framed up so I don't show anybody else. Like, I just don't need to show who else I talk to in DMs on stream, right? I think. So see, this is, you can see up here, this is the Ron Toye. At Ron Toye, still protected because he is stunning and brave. Stunning and brave. When I'm saying put a countdown on, I don't want people to be surprised. So if you have anything you want to add to the show or whatever, or any questions, go ahead and ask them. If not, that's perfectly fine. I am content reading through stuff, but I just don't want people to be shocked that this show ends up being like an hour and a half or 2 hours long as opposed to the normal 3. You guys have seen this early message, but this is him. So I showed this top section here on stream originally, right? I didn't show these two things, although I talked about it, but we'll pick up right here. This is where my fun with Ron really begins, with the book recommendations. So here we go. I would suggest a few books to read. The first one would be How to Win Friends and Influence People. The second one would be Emotional Intelligence 2.0. This will be over soon, and I hope you invest in yourself to move past anger and rage to finding ways to add value to your fans and future audience. This man is suggesting that I move past anger and rage. Remember, this guy tweeted about Vic, a guy he doesn't hardly even know, like 350 times from February to April of last year. No knowledge about any of this stuff, but incessantly trying to shatter his career. Now, it'll be great later when you find out that Ron doesn't believe he did a single thing to Vic's career. So here we go. So my response, of course, is, sure, Jan. Smiley face. Do you always broadcast what gets under your skin? It's amazing. You have a compulsion issue. Wonder what it was this time. This is on January 19th. So this is 9 days ago. This was just after my Spicy Friday rantings. I think this would have been the Saturday. Is that right? January 19th was Sunday. It was the Sunday after my Friday rantings. So there you go. So more smiley faces, more smileys. Good job. And then he says, I hope you get some super chats. I see you have your bots out trying to push your agenda. I think I read this one too. I would add to the suggestion of books I gave you before, The Art of Exceptional Living. He's a walking meme. I got to remember he's a walking meme. I know your feelings are hurt that you couldn't share photos of you playing golf, but there are other people out there who can be your friend. Yes, Ron. You got it. You nailed it. I have a question for you. Who's the first person to tweet in January between all parties in the lawsuit? Now, I guess Ron doesn't remember that his perpetual fiance retweeted Han Leia. Like, that's part of the reason it blew up, is the retweet. Oh yeah, I got to do his voice. Sorry. So what he's alluding to here is one of Vic's apologies, where, again, don't ever apologize, because these absolute trash piles will use them against you. You can mean the apology, you can not mean the apology. Don't apologize to these people. They are garbage. Like, there's no other way to do it. Imagine you don't know what you did wrong, right? Like, you don't know. All you know is you've got people firing at you, you've got your friends firing at you, and you say, look, I am sorry for whatever I've done. I apologize. I don't know. I didn't mean to do anything. I didn't mean to harm anyone. I want to try and figure out what's going on and fix this. And that being used against you, that's the people you're dealing with in these things. You can't apologize. It's sad, but it's true. You can't do it, because they will just lord it over you. You should be ashamed of yourself for lying to these fans for a year for money. There you go, guys. I've been lying to you for a year. Ron, finally, someone said it. Lying for money. Caught. At least my lie was in noble pursuits. What did you lie for, Ron? That's the weird thing. You still didn't even get married yet. I get you need to pay bills. Do I? I thought I was a trust fund baby. I thought I was just automatically super rich. Can't do it. I get you need, yeah, but at least be objectively honest. I don't know how I could be more honest on the facts. I don't know. I don't know how to do more. I show it. I cover the documents. I show the stuff. I provide receipts when able. I try not to engage in some of the like other stories. That there are other YouTubers out there who cover more of the drama and rumor and stuff like that. I have tried to back everything up that I can with receipts. There are a couple things that I haven't shown them for due to confidentiality requests from people. A big one of those, of course, was KamehaCon. Shocker. Shocker. Who lied about KamehaCon? Ron. Who ended up showing the receipts? Me. Once I could. But at first they asked me not to. All of my sources involved said, we can't show this stuff. Don't show this stuff yet. So I had to hold off. I had to sit there and have people like accuse me of providing false contracts and all of that stuff when it all turned out to be exactly what I said. Exactly what I said was going on. But but who lied about that? Ron did. Anyway, really look into the case with all the history, knowing who tweeted first and the content of that tweet, and do a real show that covers the details without bias. I don't do shows without bias, Ron. I do shows with honesty and integrity. Huge difference. Huge difference. You should learn it. Everyone knows my bias. That's the trick. They can make their own minds up. And if they think I'm a liar, they can think that. They're allowed to. Felipe Mouve says, Ron's favorite books are How to Lose Friends and Alienate People, and First Timer's book on remote controls, Effing Woman Beater Loser. Oh boy. You complained articles were written with a massive bias. Yes, the problem is not they're written with a massive bias. Ron, the problem is they purport to not contain it. That's the difference. That's the lie. I challenge you to honor what you expect from others and do it yourself. Literally every day. Every single day. I don't hold anyone to a different standard than me, Ron. Not a single person. Not a single news outlet. Nothing else. I wouldn't. Look at this. Look at this. Seeing your fun interaction with your wife on your stream was fun and lighthearted. Here's the nice one that he sent, right? This is the one I didn't read because I was like, uh-oh, this is a change of pace. This is what he wants. It was refreshing to see you happy. Ron, I'm happy 99% of my life. I'm happy most streams. She must be a good lady. You do have an audience to show guys a healthy relationship. This motherfucker. Can you? Oh, this is a short one, guys. This is a short one. They get way longer than this. I hope you consider the idea of adding more positive aspects to your show. I understand why you have a poor opinion of me. Do you? I am shocked you haven't attempted to ask me any details. What are you shocked about, Ron? I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to interact with you. I don't want to talk to you. If I tried to talk to you, you would accuse me of harassing you, you weirdo. You already do. I also must applaud you for apologizing publicly to Vic. It takes guts, so I wanted to take time to mention that. Notice what you haven't done, you fucking weasel. You haven't apologized for destroying a man's life. Haven't done it. You're an absolute scumbag. It takes guts. Self-awareness is through the floor, Ron. I appreciate you explaining your portion on why you are biased. I agree with you that everyone is biased. I must apologize if I misled anyone to think I was Vic's friend. Some of these, I haven't read all of them. Like I skimmed some. I haven't read all of these. They're too long. I don't have the patience. I apologize if I misled anyone to think I was Vic's friend. You spent months calling him out based on your relationship, you little lying weasel. Andrew Shuggett says, so he's pissed that Lady Rackets is better looking than Monica. This dude needs to give his balls a tug. Oh my God. I do and did hope the guy gets help to identify things that he did or failed to recognize about himself that has caused him to not identify how hoes' actions have hurt others. Oh, how hoes actions. Whew. That's I'm not going with that. I'm not going to give him that being an autocorrect. Hoes actions hurt everybody. That's right. Hoes actions hurt everybody. I believe everyone should get another shot of they are willing to do the work. Of course. Of course. Remember, this is something that's going to come through. Ron implicitly states through this conversation that he and Monica are okay with sexual predators in the anime industry so long as they approve them. Let me restate that for emphasis because I'm an asshole. Ron and Monica are okay with who they would call sexual predators being in the anime industry, interacting with fans and children, so long as they are the gatekeepers of which sexual predators are allowed. That's what we're going to see in this. Now remember, this is their definition of who they are calling a sexual predator. But I think that's important, right? Like if I think someone is a sexual predator or a sex offender, I can forgive them for what they did. You know, they can serve their time. They can do all that. They will never, ever be around my children. Ever. It's a safety issue. I wouldn't allow them to be around other people's children if I had a say in it. If a background check came up and said, hey, we came up, we looked into this person, they came up clean. Do you know anything about him? I'm like, that's a sexual predator. Right? Like that's, you know, that's something you do, I suppose. But Ron and Monica are okay with it so long as they get to choose what sexual predators. That's very telling. That's not just based on this statement, though. We'll get to more of it. The dichotomy of that mindset is a challenging one to balance, mostly due to ego, but that can be overcome. Here is another book suggestion. Ego is the enemy. Is it, Ron? Are you sure? Are you sure ego is the enemy? You don't act like ego's the enemy. I did want to clarify my position on bots. There have been countless new accounts created that simply post links to YouTube videos. This helps the video get clicks and then pushes the video higher in the recommended videos on YouTube. Listen to this SEO expert over here. Listen to him. Also, those accounts will reply with the exact same thing on multiple posts, even when the statement makes 0 sense. Maybe you do not utilize bot accounts or alt accounts, but it is happening. Maybe I don't. Of course I don't, you weirdo. I can barely figure out how to run a stream. Do you? Do you and Monica utilize bot accounts? Seen a lot of rehashed statements coming out of your side. They always project. They always project. One thing you mentioned was maybe talking when this is all over. I would like to talk with you if you decide that you want to, whenever you decide. I don't think that's a good idea, Ron. I really don't. Maybe when it's over. We'll see. I don't know. P.S. I do remember the retweet stuff, but did you cover why his apology was an issue? His apology is an issue because you people are monsters. That's why his apology is an issue. Because you've taken an apology out of context where he does not apologize for what you say he apologized for. At all. Vic basically apologized for being an asshole or a diva. You could go read his apology. Should we find it? It's still up. Still ill-advised, by the way. Don't do it. Don't ever do this. Again, you can tell I'm not Vic's counsel. Never, ever would I allow a client to post something like this. Here we go. Here's that apology. I'm going to speed read it. I'm not going to comment on it. Whoops. Sorry, I gotta... Look at me. Clearly running bots here. Can't even get a window minimized and centered correctly. How embarrassing. Here. This is heartbreaking. Over the last few days, a number of comments and allegations have been voiced on social media. I'd like to share my thoughts. Homophobic? No! Some of my dearest friends are members of the LGBTQ community, including several that I brought into my production family on Star Trek Continues. This is a blatantly false statement. I said many years ago that I didn't think a particular character I voiced was gay, contrary to what some fans believed, not because it matters to me at all, but because I was told this was the case. I also elected not to autograph Yowie, not because I'm homophobic, but because I didn't wish to sign material that was not canon. Anti-Semitic, I couldn't even grasp where this was coming from until someone pointed me to a moment years ago where I was in a panel, referred to a bunch of noise coming from another room jokingly as a Holocaust. As I said then, it was a metaphor for Armageddon, death, and mass destruction, but not the Holocaust. Could I have chosen different words? Sure, in retrospect, I could have, and of course, I'm sorry that it offended anyone. Nope. Don't be sorry for other people being offended if you didn't offend them. Like, you didn't defend them. It's a lie. I sincerely apologize to any convention staff member who ever felt I was anything less than kind and grateful to be included in their event. Unknown to most staffers, contractual arrangements made in advance with cons were occasionally not honored when I arrived, and that made me frustrated. That does not excuse me making anyone feel badly, and I am deeply sorry. Yeah, I apologize if I came across as a diva, right? There's that one. I would also like to sincerely apologize to anyone who ever felt my interaction with them, hug or a kiss on the cheek or forehead, was crossing a line. Never in a million years would it be my intent to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Rather, it was meant to show gratitude or support. I came from an affectionately expressive family where such displays are commonplace. Listen, a hug and a kiss on the cheek or the forehead is nigh on impossible to be sexual assault. I mean, it can be. Just about anything can be. But part of sexual assault is typically an intent to receive sexual gratification. That's usually not done in a public place, where people have lined up in front of you and are oftentimes paying to engage in the interaction. Anyway, let's see. But I understand that not everyone feels that way. Hence, I will not be interacting in the same way with fans in the future. Understand this is the climate we live in and how this is how it has to be. My fans who ask me for hugs, etc. I'm sorry, but please know that I'm no less grateful to or supportive of you. Finally. Now notice, Notice then what comes next. I guess Ron doesn't remember this part of the apology. Any allegations of sexual harassment, sexual assault, or most disturbingly pedophilia are completely and utterly false. My heart weeps for anyone who endures a violation of this kind. So to be the accused of harming others in this way, I have no words. Sincerely, Vic Mignogna. I mean, it's amazing. Like the dystopian nightmare that is Ron's mind. Oh, damn it. Oh, I hate everything about how this works. Boomered. Whatever. All right, anyway. Back to it. Okay. But here you go. Why was his apology an issue? It's not actually an issue. It's not actually an issue. That's the problem, Ron. He didn't apologize for what you accused him of. Said, if anybody ever felt uncomfortable, I'm sorry. That's not, well, sorry for raping you. Sorry for sexually assaulting you. That's not the same thing. I'm getting too old for this. That's true. That's true. P.S. Oh, wait, no, I read that one. I have pointed out, I thought it was weak, but at least somewhat respectable. You thought it was weak because he didn't apologize for the stuff you accused him of. How do you not get this? How did you not, how do you not get this? Do you see why his apology is a problem? It's not a problem because he didn't apologize for what you accused him of. I thought it was weak. You thought it was weak because he didn't apologize for the stuff you wanted him to apologize for. Because he's maintained from the start he didn't do it. I have pointed to that when people DM me upset about him. You've stated your opinion that we wanted him dead. I assure you that is not the case. We want him to get better. Sure. Sure you do. You want him to get better. I believe you, Ron. I believe you. No, I think what I said was that if you know Vic the way you claimed to know Vic and the way Monica does know Vic, I'm pretty sure you did want him dead. Or at least knew it would be the logical consequence of your actions. I think 100% that's true. I believe it. There's very little you can do to make me think otherwise. You wanted him out of the industry. You wanted him to go away. You wanted him ultimately, well, let's put you're ambivalent towards his death, knowing the risk of it. I stand by that statement. I would never retract that. Live with that statement. Own that statement. It's yours. It's yours. You deserve it. Nova Zero says, wait. Nikki, it makes sense. Ron, have you and Monica never gone beyond a hug? Here we go. Also, I genuinely wish you condolences on the passing of your grandma. Thanks, Ron. Thanks. I appreciate that. I believe that 100% too. Definitely. Very genuine there. I am not sure how close you were with her. Oh, you're not? That's weird. Your attorney seems to be pretty aware of how close I was with my grandmother. At least that's what you all claim, right? Do you know how much I've heard about my relationship with my grandparents from people who have never met either of us? All from your side. All from people who talk to you, hang out with you. I've learned a lot about my relationship with my grandparents. It's been eye-opening. I've learned all sorts of information about my financial arrangements with my grandparents that I never knew before. I mean, it's amazing how much money I received when my grandfather died years ago. I didn't know about it. It's amazing. You sure act like you know how close I was with her. But I am aware of how bad it feels to lose a relative. I'm sorry for your loss. Thanks, Ron. I'll take that 100% genuinely. Absolutely. Nothing on earth could convince me that was completely untrue. So many spelling mistakes, but it is what it is. Yep. Spelling mistakes. Hose. Did you have an opportunity to look into those books I suggested? If you can't afford them, I do not mind gifting them to you. Smiley face. Ron, my P.O. box is in the description of every video. You gift away. Gift away. Always love having books on the shelf. Also, I wanted to see if you wanted to speak with my ex-wife, Andrea. No, not really. I don't want to drag her into this any more than you did. She was nice enough when you asked that kid to get my court records to provide a sworn statement. Again, huge calculated mistake here, Ron. I didn't ask anybody to get your court records. Just in case we decided to go after that kid for publishing my social and for admitting to having my son, a minor, social. That's not illegal. That's not a criminal or civil thing, which is why you didn't go after him, right? That kid. That's a grown man. But it's not illegal to have your social security number from a court filing that was public. It's actually, I don't think it's illegal to publish it. I haven't seen that law. So, I mean, if you want to go after him, that's on you. But having my son, a minor, is social. Okay. Why'd you put it in the court documents? Why didn't you have that part sealed? Why didn't you have a confidential information sheet? Why didn't you have that redacted? What's wrong with you? I know you keep pushing those as a talking point, and I appreciate it. What? I don't know what that means. Those show, his court documents. Those show how a person can actually change if they actually commit to it. Ron, we don't have any evidence that you've changed. In fact, let me point out to you, this entire conversation is evidence that you haven't. Buddy, this conversation is emotionally abusive. Like, we don't have any sort of relationship of trust for you to abuse, but these are the tactics of someone who's emotionally abusive, manipulative, all around disgusting. You are the type of person that is a nightmare to interact with. And I feel sorry for everyone around you. I hope you just save this for me, right? I hope I'm special and that this is just saved for me. And I only hope that because I hope no one else is exposed to this. Anyone who's dealt with an abuser, someone who's emotionally or verbally abusive, knows exactly what you're doing. They can see it. One thing I find interesting is how you never mentioned that Vig's divorce is sealed. It's sealed. What do you want me to do? Why didn't you get yours sealed? But maybe she should have the opportunity to speak about it. I think that seems fair. Would you agree? No. I don't agree with you. Ever. I don't know why I would agree with you. Let's see. So then I have a response here. You say you've gotten better since being an horrific abuser. That's a meme. I hate ands before H's. I like, you know. But have you ever self-analyzed or had subsequent checkups? You're exhibiting behaviors of abusers. Maybe time for a tune-up. Always trying to be positive, right? I always want to be chipper. And then here, of course, this is one of my favorite lines right here at the beginning. I wouldn't say I was a horrific abuser, but I can see why some would have that opinion based on the stuff from my past divorce documents, so I won't agree the semantics on that. Of course you don't see yourself as a horrific abuser, but Ron, I thought you got better. I thought you've accepted who you were and moved on, right? Like, why are you denying it now? You talk about how bad of a guy you were over and over. I wouldn't say I was a horrific abuser. Well, what were you then? I was only a normal abuser. I was a mild abuser. Oh, dang it. I was only a little bit of abuser. Look, I never hit her in the face. What is happening? To my ninjas out there who have dealt with non-horrific abuse, cheers to you, friends. Yes, I have done both. That's back to this. Self-analyzed and subsequent checkups. I grew up horrible, physically abused. Now, this is a sad story. This makes me sympathetic to Ron. It was to the point that I couldn't go to school for days because I had marks all over my face and body. This physical abuse started as early as I can remember. Belts, extension cords, blenders, boards, fists, kicks, pretty much anything you can swing or use to hit someone with, I have experienced it. And on a serious note, guys, on a serious note, don't abuse people. It's cyclical, right? Like, that's how abuse works. If you want to know why Ron was an awful pile of garbage to at least 2 women, there you go. There you go. It's right there. It's what he learned. It's not his fault that he learned it. It's his fault that he did it. It's not an excuse for him. But it's where it comes from, right? There's an origin story. Don't be an abuser. If you're an abuser, get help. Like, honestly, get help. Of course. Don't pass it on to another generation. I hope Ron didn't pass it on to his kid. I really don't. What that did to me was make me feel powerless, and I learned to use anger to control my emotions to not cry. This is my survival tactic that poisoned most of my life. I can't count how many fights I have been in, usually protecting people, because I knew what it felt like to be bullied. Oh, he is the sheepdog. Ever the sheepdog. After my second wife, Marcy, served me with divorce papers, it was a total shock to me at the time. I was devastated. My first wife was a marriage that should never have happened. We knew each other a total of 2 months before we got married. I was 20 and she was 22. We had no business always dating the older women, I guess. Just kidding, that's a joke, because I think his second wife was younger. We had no business getting married, and if we dated 2 more months, we would have broken up. She is the mother of my son, so I wouldn't change us being together, but I do regret how I treated her. There are stories I could tell that would almost justify some of my actions, but I won't dignify those by telling. There it is. There it is. The defensive implication. I love the defensive implication. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this as this is a persuasive tactic, right? Listen, there's things I could tell you that would help you understand, but I can't dignify it. I'm taking all the blame, but there's things. And your mind's running wild. Oh my God, did she cheat on him? Did she beat their kid? Did she cook a cat in an oven? Like what happened? Like what did she do? What things could, like, it's a deflection, right? I'm going to take all the blame, but there are things you don't know. There are things you don't know. This is that manipulation and control, right? That's what this is. It's the lie by implication. Lying and implying, as my friend Dick calls it, right? But I actually loved Marcy, was trying to be a better person. We had a fun 4 to 5 year relationship. She was young when we got together. I was 23 to 24 and she was 20. We ended up dating for a few months after she filed for divorce. That is after the statement she gave about the remote. Would you press rewind or something? That did happen. I did slap her on the thigh with it when I handed it to her. There's zero excuse for that behavior. The threats, I made those too. We know, Ron. We know. No one doubted you made the threats. No one doubted you hit her with the remote. When I made them, I had just got the news that Andrea was going to... Here's the excuse. Look, I threatened to murder someone. I threatened to murder several people. Chop up her dog. Murder a judge's son. But here's why. But here's the excuse. Let me own my past without owning it. Let me own it but justify. All right. I just got the news that Andrea was going to take me to court to try and get our 50-50 custody changed. Why would she do that? Just out of the blue? Just wanting that? Did it have something to do with threatening to murder someone, Ron? Being controlling and abusive? I was shocked. It was out of the blue. My son was 6 at the time and he came to me crying and let me know that his stepdad was beating him with a stick wrapped in duct tape. Oh, there we go. There we go. That was the most intense rage I ever felt. Hearing my son tell me while shaking he was getting abused. I called her and she told me it was true, but not to worry because Vincent wrapped the stick in duct tape to not leave marks on him for school. Now see, that's where that guy should be lit on fire. Oh my God. Absolutely. Why is she filing for custody? Like, what's going on here? This is such a weird story. Such a weird story. Now, with my past that triggered me. I acted angry when I was actually scared and sad I couldn't protect him when he needed me. And of course, this is why he threatened to murder the judge's son. So I called Vincent to confront him and said some horrible things in an attempt to make him feel an ounce of fear I felt. That was immature, and I will go into detail about that more later. Please don't. Please don't. Tucker says, I don't give a shit. I'm so tired of abusers clinging to I was abused as an excuse. It's not a justification. It drives me up the damn wall to hear it. 2 wrongs do not make a right, and 1 has to be a real man. I agree with you. I agree with you, Tucker. I'm not saying that they're justified in it. I'm saying that's where it starts, though. It's a learned behavior. The trick is you have to unlearn the things that you learn. Abuse is just a shitty lesson that some people get stuck with. We all have to unlearn stuff, right? Like, nobody now thinks what they thought when they were a little kid. So we all have to unlearn stuff. This is a hard lesson, but you do need to unlearn it. Again, don't pass it on. Don't pass it on to the next generation. So here we go. So the day I made the empty thread about the judge... The empty thread, huh? Was the same day I got papers from the court telling me that I was about to fight for my son. I didn't know that Marcy was working with Andrea at the time to get my custody reduced to standard possession. Oh. Oh, your wife was working against you. Why? Do you think there might have been a reason? So we were on our front porch and Marcy asked me, what are you going to do? Court is going to take Jojo and put him with Andrea and Vincent. I was already pissed at getting papers, so I was ranting and she was recording. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. She knew exactly how you would react. Why did she know that, Ron? Why did she know that? I wouldn't hurt the judge or anyone else for that matter. Don't. Oh, but I was terrified and was using my go-to emotion to protect myself from feeling vulnerable or afraid. How did they protect themselves from feeling vulnerable and afraid, Ron? The best thing that happened to me was the day we went to court. The judge asked me if I said those things and I admitted it, and I told him it didn't matter what paperwork I had to sign. If someone touched my kid again, I would kill them. He looked me dead in the eye and said, son, if you would have handled yourself better, reported the abuse, you would have my son and things would be different. Would have my son? Your son, I think he means. He required me to go to anger management. Like, not to beat a dead horse. Not to mildly abuse a dead horse, but Ron, why do you think they took this approach? Because you're not a horrific abuser, just a mildly terrible one. I dove deep into the root causes of my anger and inability to communicate my feelings. I call it my dark night of the soul. Oh, Christ. Over the span of a year or two, I went on to every mark on my soul and evaluated every aspect of the event. The human element of the person who hurt me, why they did it, who they learned that behavior from, and what I could have done better. That process released the grip that my brain had on the memory. Oh, that's good. There you go. I read, on average, 50 to 100 books per year. My favorite people. My favorite people. There you go. There you go. My favorite people. I read 50 to 100 books a year. I am dedicated to a lifelong pursuit of being the best I can be daily. The Japanese have coined the mindset Kaizen. Also a great book, but it's small incremental changes over time. I'm a certified Kaizen green belt, sucker. I know all about it. What up? I wanted black belt certification, but I didn't have a use for it. Rip me. Rip me. Well, Six Sigma. Sorry. I'm Six Sigma green belt. And the Kaizen is the is one of the programs that you use in Six Sigma reform or whatever. Over the past 6-7 years since my divorce from Marcy, I've completely changed as a person. Sure you have. None of your behavior has come through over the past year, Ron. Not a shred of it. People who knew me then and have caught up with me recently are shocked by how much I have changed. That is why I emailed Vic in February. I know if I can change, so could he. I still believe he can. I know he must be terrified, but what I said and what Monica said in her statement is true. There it is. Again, there it is. We will help him get back into the industry. As if they have any ability to do that. As if they have any ability to do that. The hubris is astounding. Imagine this scenario with me. So here we go. Here's Ron's plan. Are you ready? Vic sticks with his original public statements or goes back to those plans he had. Ron, he did those plans he had. You weirdo, he didn't stop that. And he has stuck with his original public statements. He didn't do what you accused him of, you weirdo. He's been frustratingly consistent with that first statement because he didn't have to apologize for the stuff he did apologize for. Because it's all lies. But he's been consistent with it. He documents the stuff he learns, documents the good days and bad. Presumably, he reports in to Mama Monica and Papa Ron. on his documented progress. Listen to the arrogance of this non-therapist massive cuck. Like, listen to the arrogance of this guy. Put yourself in his shoes for a second, if you dare. He goes to conventions. How? You canceled him. You canceled him. If it were up to you, he'd be canceled from all of them. I'm pretty sure you tweeted that, you weirdo. You told Kamea-Khan. You told Kamea-Khan that that Monica was going to call other conventions and cancel him. You told them that. Why are you lying, man? Why? How's he going to go to conventions? You just told him to admit he's a rapist. Goes to conventions and doesn't defend his past, but dedicates to understanding the parts of himself that failed to identify boundary issues. They weren't issues. That's, again, a fundamental misunderstanding. They weren't issues. A hug and a kiss on the cheek aren't issues unless the person says, I'm not into that. And then, okay, whoa, cool, no problem. Just insane. Talks to the guys about toxic masculinity. Oh, yeah. Walk around doing a social justice apology tour for you guys. You just make him into your jester. That'd be great. Good plan, Ron. All of his panels can just remind people about a rampant history of sexual assault and toxic masculinity that he doesn't acknowledge. That's what he can do. This is a great plan. Ron's right. Just every convention he goes to, though, his panels can be dedicated to helping coach guys through toxic masculinity. You notice who never does talks on toxic masculinity? The soy cucks like Ron, right? Why don't they go to conventions and talk to guys about toxic masculinity? Right? They always want, well, we want to shame the abuser into doing it. I'm sorry, what? Tells them that treating women like treasure versus sex objects or possessions. What? That's not even a sentence. Tells them that treating women like treasure versus sex objects or possessions. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what it is. All I know is that Vic is obviously openly advocating for the ownership of women. Like, that's true. Clearly. Tells them it's okay to admit you are afraid or nervous. Vic does that at every single panel I've ever seen him talk about. He talks about fear and nervousness. He talks about being a person and being humanity and having insecurities. Like, what? He could help a generation break free from the mindset that it is weak to show emotions. Oh, you know who doesn't show emotions? That's what we need. We need Vic to help people understand to show emotion. The man can't get through a sentence without crying in public, Ron. Oh my God. This is it. The disconnect. This guy claims to be able to help Vic. He doesn't understand him at all. At all. I can't speak for everyone, but that would have cemented his legacy as a regular dude who grew up in a generation that it was almost acceptable to slap a girl on the butt or make rude comments. He doesn't do that. And evolved into an emotionally intelligent person who wasn't afraid to admit faults and grow. It would have been a true Broly evolution. Oh, that was cringe incarnate. I also think you have a great future ahead of you if you adapt your style and move away from rage. Thanks for the professional advice, Ron. Nick, you are a funny dude. Hey, thanks. You are captivating. Getting weird. I think you just go a little too far with the name calling and bashing. Sure, buddy. I get that it has some temporary excitement, but what is the footprint you are leaving as a legacy? One in which everybody remembers you as a remote-wielding cuck. Like, that's it. I don't... What legacy do you want, Ron? What legacy? Name calling and bashing. I don't say this to get under your skin or insult you, but to challenge you to look at how you want to be remembered. How do you want to be remembered? I mean, it's pretty clear how you want to be remembered as a savior, but you're horrific. One cool thing I was instructed to do by my therapist. Therapy is individualized, Ron. And thank God I don't have your issues at all. At all. Was to imagine the person I loved the most, then to imagine them having coffee with me, with a friend 1 year after my death. And that friend asked my loved one to tell them who I was, what I stood for, and what I did to show them I loved them. Oh, Ron. Oh, Ron. Here's the problem with Ron, right? Like, this is something Ron doesn't appear to understand. But name calling and bashing horrific monsters that have set out to ruin a person, have set out to destroy a community and to insult a generation or two of men, has no impact on like me name calling and bashing you guys is not something that my friends and loved ones are going to be talking about and worried about a year after I'm gone. That's not gonna how I treat them. How I treat the overwhelming majority of people who are not nasty, terrible monsters is probably different. I don't know if you figured that out. I also don't know if you know what jokes are. Maybe you probably don't. I guess I overestimated that and I apologize. I do. I apologize if these guys don't understand what jokes are, what insult comedy is, what ridicule is. I guess that's probably true. And for that, I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry that they don't understand that. And that's going to be a hard one for them to get over. Felipe Move says, treat women like treasure? What an idiot. That's the cuck model right there. Treat them like they treat you or worse. I would say treat them mildly better than they treat you, and you'll be treated mildly better in return. But treating women like treasure is to treat them like an object. I don't think he realized that. Right? Like he didn't I'm gonna forgive his wording there. But if you treat a woman like a treasure, that's a thing that you possess and covet and fiercely and jealously hide from others, or put on prominent display, but under clear indication of who is in ownership of that treasure, right? Like I have art that I really like, for example. Do you guys want to see one? I have one pretty close by. I have art that I like. And I put money into this art. So that's a treasure. So I could prominently display the art. But everybody knows that the art that's displayed is mine. It's mine. I'm gonna forgive him. I don't think he's meant to say that. But maybe some part of him did. Maybe some part of it did. You want some art? I'll grab the art real quick. It's just right over here. No worries. Hold on. One second here, guys. All right, just a brief aside for just an art pause. Here we go. Let's make this a little bigger. So here is a piece of art that I own, right? Yeah, I like this. Cool. It's mine. As soon as I get around to actually hanging it up, it'll be on display. That's a treasure, right? It's a piece of art. So you don't get it. I could explain it. Basically, so the figures on it are a dancer. It's one dancer moving across page, and then the symbols on it are actually the expression of their dance. Apparently, I've learned this has a language like ballet, has a language that's like music. It's written on a staff, and those symbols are representative of various positions and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know why I like it. I just do. Okay? It's a treasure. It's mine. And everybody who sees it in my house knows it's mine. This is the point. This is the analogy. This is the analogy. So does modern art garbage. Sure. That's fine. I typically do prefer realistic art, but I like this one. I like this one a lot. So, but yeah. Anyway, I just projection. Ron is the sheepdog. Why is Ron the sheepdog? Ron is fiercely possessive of what's his. You can tell, right? And Monica is his. And Ron wants everybody to know that Monica is his. And how dare you attack it? He will sheepdog that dog into the ground. Like, that's what he's going to do. It's his. She's mine. Mine. Okay. He told me to write down what I hoped they would say, and then told me to remember that we leave a footprint on everyone we interact with, and asked me to decide what type of footprint I wanted to leave behind. It shook me. Try it. Oh, Ron. They covered this on The Biggest Problem a long time ago. It's when someone reads a book and they get some epiphany. I think epiphanies was the problem. They get some epiphany, and the epiphany that they get, they assume no one else has had it, right? They assume no one else possesses the new knowledge which they gained. It's some massive new accomplishment. Ha! I had an epiphany. And that epiphany, you've never had this epiphany. You couldn't have come to special knowledge. You couldn't have introspected as hard as I did. My introspection is unique and new and novel. Ron, a therapist told you to do it. It's not a new idea. Most likely. Most likely not a new idea. Your basic question is, have you thought about how your interactions with others will impact them and what they will remember you for? Yes, Ron. Lots of people do this. The fact that you didn't, I mean, not to armchair psychology here, but maybe there's some narcissism involved. Just perhaps. And maybe that aligns really well with the hubris you've shown throughout this conversation. But I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional. I know there have been times I've been angry, still working on that, but I appreciate you pointing out that I still have work to do. Do you? I won't stop working to be better than I was the day before. I've fallen in love with the process of constant improvement. Be careful, Ron. People can get addicted to processes as well. Perception Check says, I can send you this tweet. Vic walked between Ron and Monica when they first met. Vic physically came between Ron and Monica for a moment and he wanted to hit Vic. Check your Discord DMs for the tweet. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Oh, lovely. Get this pulled up here. February 3rd here. Here's a tweet. Thank you, Perception Check, for this, by the way. This is great. This is great. Ron Toye, February 3rd, last year, 2019. Thank you for sharing. My fiance, Monica, she adores you, has been attacked for showing her support for survivors. It's a sad world we live in. My first meeting, he pretended not to know me. Walked between me and Monica. You think he pretended not to know you, Ron? Or he literally didn't know you? Walked between me and Monica. I was about to hit him, but she gave me the look. He stepped between me and Monica. I was about to hit him? Oh my God, Ron! This was at Denver Comic-Con. Monica asked me to be nice, but it was about him trying to assert dominance. No! Most likely, he was just walking next to his friend. I can't wait until I see him again, especially knowing what I know now. Ron has dealt with his anger issues. Ron, I know you're watching. I know you'll see this. Man, look back at last year. Look back at this. You are a monster. You are a monster. You're possessive. You're controlling. You're horrifying. You're abusive. You're manipulative. You've changed how you manipulate, but you don't even see it. And that is scary, buddy. You are awful. Awful. You know what happens if a guy steps between me and my wife? Not much. Not much, especially if it's an old friend of hers. Like, if he comes up and talks to her, what? I'm gonna hit him? I'm gonna hit her friend for talking to her, for being closer to her in proximity than me. Am I so worried that my wife is going to run off with this man that I need to physically assault someone? Get help. You think you've had help, and that's more dangerous. That is more dangerous than anything else. Dear Christ. GR People says, I love the opposite of that epiphany idea. I always think I can't be the first one to think of this. And with access to the internet, search my ideas, find discussions for and against, and to contemplate newer concepts presented. That's good advice right there. That's an epiphany, and you guys need to take on this thing that I thought of when GR People mentioned it. Moist John says, Vic can't help but make men insecure just by being in the room with them. LMAO. Just him existing upsets Ron. Absolute chat. Like, this is terrifying when you think about it. Monica gave me the look. Was the look, please don't do it again. Please don't hurt other people. You hurt everybody. Ugh. Scott Sandoval, I saw you at school today. What? What school? What are you talking about? Okay. This has allowed me to become best friends with Andrea. She is a realtor, and she sends me most of her clients. Oh, lovely. The bestest of friends, referral partners. I have custody of my son. I have an outstanding relationship with Monica and a phenomenal career. Great, Ron. That's lovely. But I owe it all to that judge and him encouraging me to take ownership of my actions versus making excuses. We can't control what others do, but we can control how we act, react, and communicate. So I will apologize to you for being rude. Hey, thanks. Thanks. Again, taken with all of the due respect and sincerity that it has. On many occasions, I'm not sure what you are going through or what your motivations are. You seem sure later. But I want the footprint I leave on you to be one that started off on the wrong foot but ends in the understanding that I am not who you think I am, and I will earn that through my actions and not my words. Okay. There you go. I'll believe it when I see it. I would ask if you would extend a small curtsy to me. I don't curtsy, I'm a man. By not poking fun at Monica anymore. No. She's a fantastic person. Disagree. With a phenomenal heart. I don't agree. I'm sorry. I don't see it displayed. I don't. And she has been through a lot. That, I believe that. Lots of people have been through a lot. I love her more than I can ever express. Good. I'm glad somebody does. And seeing her in as much pain as she experienced the last years was tough. Would have been nice if nobody had to experience any of this pain. Wouldn't that have been great? Wouldn't that have been wonderful? God. Oh my goodness. For a man who talks about ownerships of actions, here it is. Here it is. It's just fantastic. She loves this community. Right. That's why she calls them racists. That's why she calls them incels. All of that stuff. She loves them, right? That's why she calls them kids in their mom's basement, just like you do. They're kids. You can lie to kids, right, Ron? They're all just kids. Everybody's a child to you, right? It's demeaning, man. They're people. Some might be kids. Most aren't. And it's horrifying that you don't realize that yet. And your spouse, your fiance, I guess, doesn't either. And holding her as she cried herself to sleep for months was hard. So if you would be so kind as to not attack her, I would appreciate it. I haven't attacked anybody. I've told people not to attack you. I've made fun of you from a distance. Get over it. Lots of people make fun of me. It's cool. It's what happens. You're out. You're public. Get made fun of. Get made fun of harder. I don't care. I'm going to get made fun of harder. As years go on, everybody gets made fun of, Ron. Builds character. I hope you have a great night, Ron Toye. Now, I didn't read most of that message when he sent it. I really didn't. I didn't have time. But here's the thing, man. Ron, let me address this last paragraph. Not only did you and Monica have an opportunity to not engage with this, she could have not retweeted Han Leia. She could have not fictionalized a story about Vic assaulting her. And Ron, you know that story's fake. And if you don't know that story's fake, you may want to have an honest talk with Monica. You know that story's fake. And you know who else knows that story's fake? Monica knows that story is fake. She could have not done this, but that's not the only exit point here, Ron. I mentioned from the start, settle, work it out, Talk it out. You can do anything. Just settle. Oh my God, settle. Save yourself money. Save the community. Save Vic. Save yourselves. Settle. 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 Over and over and over. I told you. You know how people avoid this stuff? You know how you avoid a giant public controversy? You know how you avoid burning your own bridges? You know how you avoid all this stuff? You settle it out. You work it out with the other party. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can agree to not disparage each other. You can work in private. You can do everything. Settle, settle, settle. Every point in this lawsuit up till now, I've said, settle. Why don't you settle? Why don't you talk to Vic and his attorney about settling sincerely? What do you respond with? He has to admit he's a rapist. Well, sexual assaulter. He has to admit what he's done. Ron, you and Monica started this. You started it. You've also been the only people who could finish it. I know that Vic has had some conversation with you guys about settling. Some communication is passed about settling. You won't do it unless he admits to raping people. You're insane. You could have settled this. You could have healed the community. You could have prevented this a year ago. You probably could have gotten Vic to talk about the changing times. Hell, he mentioned the changing times in that apology that you love to point out. You probably could have done it if you weren't an insufferable asshole hell-bent on destroying someone because they stepped between you and your fiance, who won't even marry you. They stepped between you two because he's been friends with her for 2 decades. Here you are, you're blaming. It's been hard having her cry herself to sleep. You think that's me? You think that's me? You think that's me going, Monica's a fatso or whatever? You think, oh, look at horse teeth, Monica. You think that's what's causing her to cry herself to sleep? Ron, you guys took an axe to the community. Your fiance has dumped all over people and insulted them personally because they just asked for help understanding what happened on Twitter. Because they engaged in not just they engaged in not right enough think. You guys are stupid. And I have told you from the start, I've told you from day one how to fix it. You never listened. And that was before I knew how terrible you were and before I insulted you. Go back. Go back. I told you a lawsuit was coming. I told you, hey, maybe you want to talk to Vic and his attorney. Maybe you want to do that. I said I would help you get in touch with the right attorney before they were announced. I said over and over, I gave you opportunities. I would give you the contact information. I would give you everything. I would help you do this. Settle it out. Avoid the suit. Avoid the money. Avoid the pain. Defamation suits are a nasty slog. It's going to be years of this. I told you. Later on, this lovely human being who I will leave a good footprint on tells me I've been wrong about everything in this case. You know what I was never wrong about, Ron? How to stop it. You fucking idiots were wrong. You morons couldn't put your damn social media pride aside for 2 seconds to think about how to fix this. You couldn't do it. You wanted blood. Now you're pretending like you don't. You're a liar. You're lying to yourself, which is worse. You're a liar. It's disgusting. The funny thing is, the community remembers. Pepperidge Farms remembers. Everybody remembers how it happened. The only person who's trying to rewrite the history is you. Why? Trying to pass off the culpability that you and Monica have. Trying to put that on someone else. You wanted to put that on me. It's not me, buddy. It's you. All right. We're gonna be done fairly soon here. I'll go through a little bit more. This is Monday. This is only up to Monday. I told you over the past 48 hours I've gotten a lot. So but I'm really, like I said, I'm really exhausted. I'm tired. I'm probably fighting off a sickness. I don't really have symptoms other than fatigue. But I'm gonna embrace that fatigue a little bit and turn in a bit early tonight. But let's get to my response here. I don't have time for all of this, but Ron, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of Vic's situation. He didn't apologize for what you think he apologized for, and he doesn't think he did it. And I chose those words carefully. I cannot know what Vic has done outside of what I've seen. I can't. Neither can you, neither can Ron or Monica or anybody else, right? Like, no one knows what someone else does when they're not around. We can only go off of stories. We can go off of accounts. We can go off of our intuition. I don't know. But here's the important thing. Vic has never wavered. Ever. In a year of abuse, Vic has not wavered from his position that he didn't do this. I will tell you guys. Look, I've been to 3 conventions with Vic. Matsuri, Bubba Fest, HawaiiCon. And at each of those conventions, I spent a lot of time with Vic. I don't think that's a secret, right? People understand that. And now that we're at appeals, I can finally say it. I've spent time with Vic at business conventions where at each one of those 3 conventions, by the way, I was invited as me, not as accompanying Vic. We actually were not associated in our invitations in any way. In any way. But I've been to 3 conventions and Vic, where Vic was also in attendance. And at those 3 conventions, I spent considerable time. I have asked Vic, point blank, I said, is there anything? Is there anything? I need to know. Is there anything? People need to know if there's anything to this. These people are supporting you. They're going on Twitter and supporting you. They're donating to this GoFundMe and they're supporting you. These people have your back. What do they need to know? What's the worst thing they need to know? What is it? What do I need to know? What does any YouTuber need to know? What does any person who's going to put money towards that GoFundMe, what do they need to know? What thing? And I said, they might forgive you for it, but they need to know it. This is defense attorney talk. I need to know. I will not walk into a courtroom and be surprised by what a prosecutor brings up or what a witness brings up. I need to know. Tell me. Nothing. Nothing. Let that sink in. A year of reflection, a year of being beat up, a year of being abused, being canceled, being everything. Is there anything? Is there any truth? No. None. Nick, I don't do this. Nothing. Nothing. Ron wants to know why I support this guy. I support him because I believe him. Because he's had no reason not to tell me. He's had no reason not to tell several people. I've talked to his close friends. I've talked to his associates. I've talked to all sorts of people around him. I've talked to coworkers who observed him from a distance. I've talked to con owners. I've talked to other con goers. You know what? You know what they all say? I've never seen it. Only heard about it. I've never seen it. And considering most of the accusations are about stuff he did, quote unquote, in public, I've never seen it. Ron, why do you think I believe him? Because you're wrong. Remember all that, oh, we're going to show the evidence. Hundreds of women. You haven't shown anything. Shown stories that have holes in them bigger than Pornhub, buddy. Stories have holes. All of the accusations that have come out, they have big problems. You have weird little clinger-on voice actor aspirants trying to bring up something that happened. Then you start asking questions, you find out just how ridiculous the accusation is. Nothing, Ron. Nothing. I could call Vic right now and ask him again, is there any truth to any of this? No. Not an ounce. What have you given me? You've lied about me. Why would I believe you? You lie about me to other people. You have your lawyer lie about me. You have your little cummy gobbler Duchette lie about me. You have Shane Holmberg lie about me. All people you knowingly associate with and DM with, you have them lie about me. You lie about me. Why would I believe you over Vic? That's a good question. Who's more served by the lie? I'm a criminal defense attorney, Ron. Do you think one past case of misconduct would have stopped me from supporting someone? I mean, I might have to include some mitigation, right? Like, oh, look, this happened. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. Let's have an honest conversation. It's years ago. I haven't had to do that. I've had to deal with actual sexual assaulters, Ron. I know you guys think that I don't practice. I do. I still practice. I still have clients. I've talked to people way worse than your fantasy of Vic. I've talked to people worse than you. I've defended people worse than you. Think I'm worried about some instance? There aren't any. You think I would quibble over having to spin? Like, take your perspective of me, Ron. Take your perspective of who I am, right? And you ask yourself if I would have to quibble over spinning a story to get more of those sweet GoFundMe bucks that I'm going to take and I'm gonna jerk off with later, right? I can just take $100 bills and rub one out into a pile of 20s, and then I burn it all or whatever, because that's what's going on with the GoFundMe, right? Like, you take your fantasy vision of me and you ask if I would have any problem spinning one of these stories. Of course not. Of course not. Because people do make mistakes, and people do deserve to be forgiven, and people do deserve to have a second chance. You're right on that stuff. I believe that stuff. I'm a criminal attorney, you idiot. I would have no problem, but I'd be honest about it. Nothing. Repeated questions about it. Differently worded questions. Nothing. All right. Sorry, that was a tangent. This is so insane to me. I don't understand how to deal with it. You guys didn't come out and show him to do better. As condescendingly retarded as that actually is, you arrogant dork. You publicly labeled him a rapist and sexual predator and pedophile. Then you expected him to listen to your advice after intentionally destroying his career and reputation? Do you not understand abuse? Do you not understand abuse? You claim to have a bunch of experience with it, and yet you're still trying to batter someone into listening to you. Or you're trying to batter someone into listening to you still. Zero self-awareness. I knew you brilliant people would never listen to me. You should have. You could have put the whole thing to rest and actually brought healing. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Go back to February. Tell yourself you aren't driven by the hate and rage you profess to have evolved beyond. Let's remind everybody. He stepped between me and Monica. I was going to hit him. I was going to commit a crime. Your erudite musing and DMs on Twitter are undermined by your demonstrated behavior. I now am only left wondering if you actually know you're like this. So I think that's where we're going to end the night. We may go through more. We'll do more Ronversations later this week. Either tomorrow or Thursday. It depends on if I have guests, right? That's what this depends on, or if something else comes up. We'll do more Ronversations going forward. To give you an idea, we're not even halfway through them. So to give you just a glimpse of what's out there without spoiling it, we're not even halfway. So there's a whole bunch of this. All right, guys. So it's 1:15. It's a little early to do this today, but I gotta get some rest. I'm sorry. I know you guys understand. Tomorrow on the Discord is Live Chat Wednesday. Tomorrow is Live Chat Wednesday, and we'll be having a chat probably 2 p.m. Sometimes it gets flexed to 3 p.m. It just depends on if I have to do the driving or not on a given day. But it should be 2 p.m. tomorrow. If you want to be in on a Live Chat Wednesday, join Patreon. Patreon.com/lawsplaining, which is in the description. Or you can join New Project 2 /Rekieta Law, also in the description. The $5 level or higher on either one. Live Chat Wednesday is a very chill, very relaxed chat. There's no topic. There's nothing. It's just me hanging out for 2 to 3 hours every Wednesday. Unless there's some weird thing that prevents it from happening, and I try to do makeups. Also, if you're in the Discord, Live Chat Wednesday is an assigned, defined benefit to it. But there are also random late night chats and daytime chats that occur, and those are just where I go into the Discord, and as a thank you to people who support the channel, I go ahead and throw out, I spend some time just chatting. We're just hanging out, having fun. It's something you can't find on Twitch. You can't find it on YouTube. They're not generally recorded, and they just exist. Come hang out. We talk about all sorts of fun stuff, make all sorts of racist jokes. That's all it is. It's all racism. That's what it is. It's racism, specifically anti-Semitism, and also anti-coronavirusing-ism, and whatever other isms that you can. And we dox everybody. Nothing but doxing nonstop. So if you want to do that, you can. Yes, I'm going to bring up the GoFundMe. I know a couple people have pointed out. So here we go. Here is the GoFundMe. Look at that. Look at that. And I will be doing a 1-year update of the GoFundMe on February 19th. I'm holding off on doing any updates until February 19th. But on February 19th, I plan to do a full, like a nice long update post talking about where we are. So Ilhan Omar says she's interested. That's one of the stories that I have in reserve. The FBI is now looking into whether or not Ilhan Omar married her brother. Married a brother! Let's just go ahead and throw that out there as great things. Great things, headlines we never expected. Who won the sword and knives? I haven't done the sword and knives auction yet. I can't do that through GoFundMe. I'm waiting on appeals for that. Like, let me be honest. Engagement on Vic fell off dramatically after the initial loss, which is understandable, right? Understandable that engagement has fallen off, and I am wanting these knives to go for the value of the effort put in. They're high quality stuff. Maybe you guys can overrule me on this. You're welcome to do that, but I don't want to put these knives up for auction to support the GoFundMe and have them go for like $20 a piece. These are crafted knives. They're high quality. They're really cool looking. They're substantial. They're not stamped out. You know, these are forged knives. So I really would hate to put them up, and because of a setback from Judge Chump, get this tiny amount for them when they merit much more. So yeah. So anyway, so that's why I haven't done the knives yet. I really want to, and will. I'm hoping that engagement on the Vic stuff increases with some surge in interest during the appeals as they go up. So anyway, I can put minimums on it, but you know, we'll see. Anyway, cool is subjective. Cool is subjective. I think they're amazing. I think they're amazing. I think the guy who did it's a good guy with a good heart and who put in solid work. Like they're well crafted. I don't know what to say. They're full tang knives. They're balanced pretty well. They're stylistically interesting. All that stuff. Show one. I can show you all three if you want. So here's the small one. This is this guy. Like, look, this is a significant piece of metal, right? Full tang. We've got hell, 1/8 of an inch of steel. This thing weighs an amount. This one's a little small, so it's weighted a little heavy in the hilt. The blade's not very long, but you can see it's got a very Klingon characteristics in the theme of Star Trek continues. Handmade leather sheath as well. These are blades that need to be oiled or whatever, and care given to them. So there's that one. There's the bigger one. This guy right here. This is about a man 8-inch, a woman 4-inch. The joke. They're balanced. This one is balanced right at. Let's see. Oh, come on. There you go. Balanced right. Basically right at where the brass meets the hilt. Again, cool stuff. Again, a significant piece of steel. Very sharp. Fun stuff. Needs to be oiled. Again, these are real steel blades. And then finally, I do suck at this. I know. Then there's this one. This one is a custom wooden sheath. This is a huge knife. This one is a little less shiny because this one has an oil on it. But this is, you know, look at this. You could shove this knife straight through someone's face in self-defense in Minecraft, and it would come out the other side. This is basically a sword. Where this one is balanced is up here. This one's balanced a little bit on the blade. There you go. There you go. And this one, you know, has a pretty cool custom hilt material, handle material, whatever you call it. But yeah, you're chopping the broccoli. So these three knives, and again, sharp, high quality. This one is double edged, so this backside is also the backside is also very sharp. So there you go. These are the knives. I don't know if you guys think I should do the auction prior to the appeal stuff. I'm open to it. Again, the guy who contributed this says, I can't contribute cash to the GoFundMe, but I can contribute my labor to the GoFundMe if someone will do it. I want to honor that because these are cool, man. I would like them. But I'm not a Star Trek guy, and these are very, very Klingon-themed knives. So I think they actually have names or whatever. I would love to have them. So I wanna put them on auction, and I want them to earn what they're worth. How's that? But that's why I haven't done them yet. Okay, it's that. So we have the GoFundMe, $272,850. Shane Malbuff, Jake Z, Anonymous, Nicole Leanne, Anonymous, Ryan Delaney, Samurai Zenji, Will Stevenson, Mikhail Sanchez, and then Anonymous, Nikki Engler. These I've read already. Thank you guys so much for contributing. We're $272,850. We're a mere $150 from $273,000. Thank you all to you guys who've supported this thing over the past year. You are wonderful. I can't express enough. You've saved a man's life. No matter what, at the end of the day, this is something Ron will never understand. T. Greg, Lemons, none of these morons are going to understand this, right? At the end of the day, even if Vic loses on every single issue after appeal, It's a possibility. Certainly a possibility, right? He lost at the district court level. He could certainly lose at appeals. Making no bones about it. I never have said otherwise. That loss was a possibility. Even if Vic loses at every single step of this, these contributions have saved a man's life, have saved a man's career. I shouldn't say they saved his career. They gave him the opportunity to move forward. They gave his community a rallying point. They gave people a place to go and express openly with the most important asset most of us have, which is our hard-earned money, to go out and say, no, I refuse to accept the lie. I refuse to accept the sacrifice. That when I say sacrifice, I don't mean Vic sacrificing himself. I mean someone else volunteering Vic to be sacrificed, right? The good sacrifice. Like, you get killed. That's the way sacrifice really works out great. We're going to sacrifice you. Wait, sacrifice isn't a verb to be used on a third party. Sacrifice should be me willingly give up something. No. You don't understand. We're going to willingly give you up. But I need me, right? Every single dollar is no. And it's, we support you. That's everything. These people will never understand it because no one would do it for them. Why is that? Why is that, Ron? Why didn't you guys start a GoFundMe? I think it's because you knew. People wouldn't back you up on it. They wouldn't back up Monica. They don't believe you. They don't believe you at all. They do believe Vic. That's got to burn you up something fierce, buddy. But alas, that's what it is. Alas, that's what it is. All right. Well, we've got some chats to read. Felipe Move says, about to hit him. Ron is an effing psycho. That tweet needs to be evidence about his motives to attack Vic with his lies. It's probably in the filing already. I don't know if it is, but it's probably in that stack of tweets, right? I haven't gone through them in a while. And when you do, like when you go through stuff on a live stream, you don't always remember exactly what there is. I have a very good visual memory, but when I'm just presenting it, it's harder to catch it. So like on the documents and stuff, I usually read those a couple times outside of the live stream. But anyway, let's go through the chats here, and then we'll wrap it up. King Explosion Murder says, yo, Nick, whatever you're drinking tonight, if you could toast to Kobe and Gianna Bryant and the 7 other victims of the helicopter crash, I'd really appreciate it. I'll be watching tomorrow. Good night. Hey, man. Yeah. I'm drinking Aberlour, Abadan. And yeah, I can do a little toast to them. And, a minor shout out to the SJWs who were like, a dead rapist is a good rapist or whatever. Dear Christ. Guy dies with his fucking daughter in a helicopter, and all they can talk about is the rape conviction that never was. All right. Kobe, Gianna. Kobe, like, for nothing else, inspires a generation of guys to be better than they are. Like, it's a weird thing to say. He gets accused of rape, but at the same time, you have to balance the accusation and not conviction, importantly, with the fact that, the guy is a great basketball player. and inspired a bunch of kids to just better themselves. Like, that's what you do. Whatever. Oh, I keep saying Kobe Bryant. Sorry, I'm in Japan mode. Visor Ivana says, I can't decide between watching you or the claw feather tonight. Hope the stream goes well. What's the claw feather? What is the claw feather? What the hell? Claw father. What's the claw father? Somebody help me out with claw father. Takaki Onsai says, lesson to learn, Nick owes you nothing, people. 2012 Jameson says, one of my classmates lost family in Kobe crash. That sucks, man. That sucks. Infamous GS says, Lemoyne and his clients should start a band together called Lemon Park, because in the end is basically Lemoyne's life story right now. Deadwing Dork, you should have him on. What does he talk about? I did a shot to Neil Peart when he actually died, Eagle Lone. What's Deadwing Dork talk about? Rhinosaurus Rex says, so coronavirus rearranged spells raccoon. Shanghai has a biotech facility with an identical logo to Umbrella Corp. Coincidence? I think not. What about, did you guys see that Harvard biochemist was charged with lying about his involvement in a Chinese study allegedly involving biochemistry in whatchamacallit, what's the province? I can't even think of it. Hulan, what is it? What's the flippin' province? What is it? Wuhan. Sorry, I'm in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon mode, so I'm like Wudan. Yeah, so the guy is charged with doing biochemistry without admitting it in Wuhan. You want to win a trade war in China? Maybe you just release a virus. Oh my goodness. Colo Sign says, how do you feel about college humor going under? Don't care. Don't care. Businesses succeed and fail. And, you know, don't need to mourn them when they're gone. You can like what they did. My favorite college humor bit is the Batman can't stop thinking about sex. Really funny. Really funny. My favorite line, hey, guy who talks through a crab. Oh my God. That's funnier than all of the sex jokes in that entire skit. Just beautiful. Cody Paw says, frick, I'm on time. Stooge Muffin stuff and says, we should make the people of Kick Vic into SCPs. Let's see. Nick Naylor says, Wu-Tang cough, sweet and sour sicken, kung flu. Gelth Walker says, Nick, SG Sammy got a triple copyright strike today. Oh my goodness. SG Sammy just did a video on what was it? He just did a video that someone didn't like. Someone really didn't like. What was that video he did? I don't watch. Look, it's not personal. I don't have time to watch a ton of YouTubers. So I know SG Sammy covers stuff, and he did. It was a Sabbath video. It was Sabbath video or Kara Edwards, where he showed them like Kara Edwards talking about Sabbath, And then there was another video where like Vic, I don't know if SG Sammy did this one of like Savage having Vic kiss his head or his sweaty bald head or whatever. That was gross. Yeah, big coincidence, right? Big coincidence. He does those videos. They definitely don't make an impact. And then boom, channel struck. Channel struck. Maybe I should have SG Sammy on the show. What do you guys think? Do you guys like him? I was going to have him on a long time ago, back when I was going to have Senpai on and other people, and I didn't get around to any of them, and I still feel bad. And if I haven't said it, I think I did. Senpai has apologized to me privately, and I accepted his apology 100%. 100%. So, okay, maybe I'll reach out to Sammy and talk about his copyright strikes. See what they are. This is the first I'm hearing about it, but that's crazy. Nicker Jim says, despite being 13% of the population, the Chinese spread 100% of the diseases. Come on now. Moist John says, imagine paying for a workout program. Yeah, I mean, there's infinite free ones from much better shaped people. But Cass Michael says, cheers, buddy. Hey, cheers to you, Cass. Even though we have mild disagreements from time to time, I still consider you a friend. And appreciate your wisdom and counsel. Colo Sign says, what goes good with coronavirus? Lyme disease. Not good. Skaki Onsai says, if extensions are normal, then why are some morons, Kiwis, oh goodness, stating that this is a bad look makes BHBC, Martinez Sue look bad, etc. The fook are they smoking? #dumb. I don't think they're making legal statements about the look of it. They're making a PR statement about the look of it. Let's take a sympathetic position to that real quick. And I see the argument. I 100% see it. The argument is Ty came on. I have talked about, these are two separate things. Ty came on and I have talked about how they have their appeals chart or their prima facie evidence chart. I think I showed some prima facie evidence stuff based on part of their chart or something like that. Where this stuff is in the documents. They have that laid out. So one idea would be, look, a bunch of people have given to the GoFundMe. A bunch of people are expecting this to be prosecuted the proper way, done correctly. All right? I'm with you. I'm with you on this. And so the question is, why can't, with the ruling being back in October, why can't we get an appeal by January 27th, right? The appeal deadline. Why didn't that happen? It's a bad look because you've got these guys, you've got a GoFundMe, you've got all this stuff. Okay. I get the argument, I get the statements. Let me pose some possibilities. And there's no shame in this, right? Like I'm not attacking anybody. These are valid criticisms. The public portion of this lawsuit is every bit a part of the lawsuit as the private portion, right? As the legal portion. There's the legal section. I've talked about this before. There's the legal section, and then there's just the very image of fighting back is important. So how that fight goes matters to some extent. Now, I may disagree over the issue of the extension with some people, and that's okay. Again, lawyers disagreeing with lawyers about stuff is only every lawsuit ever made. So I put no stock in disagreeing with other people. It's just part of life. All right. But let's consider some possibilities here. There's some possibilities that I know it's been raised, the idea that the GoFundMe is sitting there and there's like a delay to exhaust the GoFundMe or to extract extra funds from it. I don't know the disposition of the funds on GoFundMe. That's kind of by design, right? Like, I don't have access to that. That's confidential between Vic and Ty. I don't know what it is. Hypothetically, the GoFundMe could be gone right now. It could be all spent. Now, there's two options there. They're still going forward with the appeals court. Then any further costs would be incurred by Vic, right? Like, if there's no GoFundMe, somebody's got to pay. Or Beard Harris could be doing it for free, pro bono, or for no further fee, or they could have some alternative arrangement, or they could have a contingency fee. I don't know. It would be wonderful to know this stuff, but I think right now there's a very, very clearly articulable interest in me specifically not knowing the specific disposition of the funds. All right. That is shown by how much the defense wants the fund amount disclosed, how much this GoFundMe pisses them off. So I don't know. I don't know what agreements there are. I don't know what it is. What I do know is that if there are still funds in the GoFundMe, it's very likely that by the end of the GoFundMe and by the amounts we've seen from the other firms and knowing Ty's rates, because he's talked about them on the show, that there's a very good possibility that there will not be funds in the GoFundMe at the end of appeals. So either way, I don't think that delaying this thing has anything to do with the GoFundMe. Let's put that to rest. Arithmetic, reason, all of that stuff. I think we can safely say that the GoFundMe as it stands is going to be, if it's not gone yet, it would be gone by the time appeals are done. And remember, the defense is estimating $55,000 for appeals. The defense only has to do one appeal. The plaintiff has to fight 4 people, right? The defense only has to fight 1. So you can add some costs. Now, there's a lot of repetition in that stuff, of course. You can add some costs to that. We can infer that the GoFundMe money probably isn't sufficient to cover the case and the appeal together. That's a reasonable inference based on how much stuff has been filed, how much time has been spent, depositions, Kamea, all of that stuff. Now, and similarly, I'm not out here pushing the GoFundMe. I'm not doing that. I'm not out here saying, oh, you got to contribute, you got to do this, blah, 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 blah. I will not personally be doing that until we see at least what's in the appeals, if not some movement on the appeals. I've said that for the past couple months. I'm maintaining that position. I'm going to talk about the GoFundMe when it comes up, of course. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, you need to contribute, blah, 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 blah. Because just like you guys, I want to see action before I'm endorsing something, right? That seems fair to me. I hope that seems fair to you. I hope you guys understand that. But these things are expensive. Now, don't get me wrong here. Vic has been a successful voice actor for a very long time. And if he has to shoulder some cost, he has to shoulder some cost. I don't know the agreements between him and Ty. I don't know anything like that. I know how I would handle things, right? If I were Beard Harris and let's say the GoFundMe money ran out or something, I would probably do some of the work either pro bono or on a contingency or something like that. Because I think there's some interest in me preserving or defending my reputation. I don't know. I can theorize all sorts of stuff. What I do know is a couple things, and I'll share them with you. I know Ty. I know Ty is a guy who works hard. I know it's said about Ty too. I'm not here to defend him. I'm not. I don't, people can make their opinions on Ty. They can decide based on his work what he's done, the quality of it. That's fine. I'm not in control of that. I'm not in control of what other people do. I know Ty. I know Ty is a hard worker. I know Ty is worth the money. That's it. Or at least that's what I think. Whatever. I also have a problem thinking that Ty would sit on something to just take a paycheck. Because again, knowing how Ty works, I would be very surprised to find out he does anything questionable with billing. As weird as that sounds to say, because I hate lawyers in general, but I know he's not billing for the shows that he comes on. I know he doesn't bill for tweets or anything like that. I know he's not nickel and diming anybody on 10th of an hour phone calls. This isn't a firm that has to do that. So I would be really, really surprised if at some point the GoFundMe money exhausted and Ty was like, well, we're done. That's not in the character of Ty that I know. I can be wrong on character. I can be wrong on all this stuff. I don't think that's a thing, personally. I know lawyers like that, and I know lawyers who aren't like that. And I put my money on Ty being in the second group. So that said, as far as the GoFundMe, and the Kiwi Farms sort of talk and speculation about it, and the talk and speculation about the appeals and why, let me just suggest that you guys should pay attention to that last aspect on the appeal request. The fact that there's a very large business deal going on that involves DOJ and FTC filings. That's expensive. The timelines are short, and it takes a bunch of work. I think that probably explains most of it. Also, Only being on vacation, that's a big part of it too. So there you go. There you go, guys. That's my stuff on it. I'm not here to change Kiwis' minds. I'm not here to do anything like that. I can't. The farms is the farms, right? They will do what they do, and that is perfectly appropriate. I can only tell you what my opinions are, and you guys can take them for what they're worth. I hope they're worth something to you. I hope I built credibility over the past year, but maybe I haven't. And if I haven't, that's cool. Dax Terminax says, I'm willing to bet there's a section in Monica's workout program that involves dodging remotes. And of course, Ron has to watch while she throws them. Oh, rude. Skyhime, thank you for the triumphant lemon sticker. Changus Khan says, the reason Ron's obsessed with you, Nick, is because he knows he can get more excitement in bed with you than Monica could ever give. No way, man. The only excitement in bed with me and a man is not pleasant. So we're not going to talk about that at all. That would not go well for any party. RW Bimble says, Ron chat. Ron said, give you super chats. Hey, thank you, Ron. And thank you, RW Bimble. I appreciate it. JC Gaming says, does Ron even know anger and rage? He seems so beta. How do we know Monica didn't write that for him? Ooh, brutal. Colo Sign says, stop influencing. Here's a book on influencing. Creeper Weirdo says, if Ron keeps DMing you, offer him the art of the comeback. Ricky1186 says, how dare you steal my money, Nick? I'm so enraged I shall give you more. Unbelievable. Do you have no standards in your news? None. Not at all. Hashtag Soye lies. Hashtag not a bot. Not a bot. Ryan Case says, yes, Ron, because exceptional living is being on your third engagement for 6 years with an estranged son and 2 ex-wives. Peak manhood, my boy. Oof. And not even being a billionaire to do that. Rick1186 says, you may be an asshole, but at least you're not soy. Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment. Kalinka Pavlova says, Ron must have convinced himself appeals are going his way if he's willingly giving you potential evidence, and kind of creepy of him to mention lady rackets. Look, it gets worse. It gets worse. Not only are the appeals going his way, but the subsequent lawsuits against me, beautiful. A thing of beauty. And by the way, Lemons, Lemoyne, Booby, Sweet Pea, you half-lunged genius. If you have grifted that simp into paying you to sue me for negligent referral, oh my God, I take everything back. You're the best lawyer on the planet. Regardless of your skill, convincing those morons to sue me on behalf of Vic, where you get paid for it, for a negligent referral, something that will be fucking impossible for you to prove. Absolutely impossible for your brain dead, oxygen deprived self to even come close to proving. That could be defeated by 2 statements from anybody in this lawsuit, me and one other party, and there are multiple available, to convince Ron and Monica to pay your dumb ass to waste their money like so on a malicious, vindictive prosecution that I would fight so hilariously to my own benefit. I commend you, good sir, for convincing these stupid... You hate them more than me, and that is saying something monumental. Please, dear God, keep it up. You beautiful bastard. I will give your West Nile to someone else. I won't take it on myself. I'm too narcissistic and too much hubris for that. But I will give it to someone else if I could. Just for you to pull that off. You flipping genius. You brilliant bastard. Oh my God. Keep convincing Ron. That's going to go great for them. I definitely don't sense hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees being poured into the anus of Wick Phillips. That's you. That's you, Lemons. You're the anus of Wick Phillips. I definitely don't see that happening. That would be magnifique. Oh my goodness. And I hope you win. I hope you win so you can try and collect on that. That would be perfect too. Good job. Oh my God. Have you told him the elements of a negligent referral? Have you explained how hard it would be to prove up a negligent referral? Have you explained how difficult the public statements I have made about my association, whatever it is, with Vic Mignogna would be? How absolutely damning they would be to the case of negligent referral? I mean, have you adequately briefed your client on just how ludicrous that claim would be? Because, hey Ron, after you pay Lemons tons of money to sue me for negligent referral, you can assign your negligent referral of Lemons to me. Maybe against Casey Eric or whatever. You can assign that negligent referral to me to sue Lemons back for being a brain damaged moron who shouldn't be practicing law. That would be great. Just remember that. Remember that when you're considering that malpractice suit, but you can't afford to hire another lawyer. Just remember that one. That'll be fantastic. Fucking moron. Rogue says, and now we know why Illich and Scott got away with it for so long. Morons are so busy hounding Vic when the real predators roam free. Priorities minus 100. Nick Naylor says, have you seen the Crytek versus SIG lawsuit? I've seen bits of it. It's far along and very complicated, so I don't know. Rural says, or something. Richard Roche says, don't call that sleaze a weasel Weasels are adorable, loving, and happy creatures. Ron is a tapeworm who's only there to bring down other beings. Oof. Kalinka Pavlova says, Vic's accusers are bigots against Italian culture. That's true. That's true. Orange Donut says, Matt Lees tried to out Yoko Taro for signing a cosplayer's thigh when both consented to it. She is 31 years old, and he implied that she was underage. The virtue signaling white knights have no limits on their lives. Nito Tetsu says, what a bot stream, Nick. Ron, you are a sad man. Nick Sex says, what do they mean, get better? Rape fewer children? Verithica Frostgale says, would you compare Vic to Mr. Rogers? Ronica and company would be more of a mob with pitchforks and torches. I don't know if I'd compare Vic to Mr. Rogers. I think Vic's just a normal guy. I really do. I think he's a normal guy who's talented, absolutely, but we all are talented in some way. But he's been thrust into a position of interacting with people that no one ever expects in their life. And he's dealing with it the best he can, interacting with people in a way that no one else does, and I don't mean in a bad way, I mean in a good way. I don't know if I could compare him to Mr. Rogers or not. I think he's just a normal guy in a weird situation. TLJ Screwjob says, Joseph TX, the farms banned him a week later. I know they did. They said he milked the cow too hard. RW Bimble says, is Ron trying to bait you into the Vic lawsuit? Probably. Jason of the Great Awakening says, Ron, show us on the dolly where they put the blender. Cargis says, while Ron's story sounds horrific, I don't buy any of it. Ron, you burned your credibility, buddy. The attempt at manipulation is obvious and disgusting. He has the gall to suggest other people get help while continuing his despicable ways. RickU1186 says, having studied the minds of people like Ron, and sometimes I pity them, but not Ron. He seems to be a habitual abuser who's always looking for excuses. Thomas Fitzpatrick says, Ron isn't an abuser. He's a bait abuser. Rude. Cloudfire181 says, sorry, Ron, picture books don't count. Vladimir M. Ivanovich says, why is he sending this autism to you? It's afraid. Oh, it is afraid. Make no mistake. Ryan K says, glad Ron follows the lying Liz approach. Quote, it doesn't matter what the truth is. It is our truth, and that's all that matters. TLJ Screwjob says, Ron, I'm glad conventions are canceling him. Yep. Mario Carter 13 says, Ron can't lie. Mental DVRs full and remotes broke. Oh, no. Mario Carter 13 says, slide in your DMs because he can't get in your BMs. Gross. Marius Van says, hey, Ron, don't treat women like treasure. Treat them like people. Treasure are objects and possessions. Yes, thank you. That's what I was saying. Malik Foxon says, pretty sure you're going to be remembered as one of the many who stood up against these fuckers. Also, dear transcriber, Ron Toy is still a fucking cuck. And Mr. Scott J87 says, check out Save My Lesgeritz GoFundMe, a parental right transgender case ASAP. Told him to try to contact you. It's right in your backyard. Ooh, that's interesting. Mario Carter 13 says, the footprint I leave on you. Literal kick Vic. Super Alfredo 64 says, hey, Nick, do you think Monica will let Ron hold her hand while Tyrone is plowing her after sending that message? Oh, gross. Gross. Oh, dang it. I missed Elliot Joubert says, the other thing they could have done to avoid the pain and suffering is they could have shown supposed receipts of their allegations. How's anyone supposed to feel sorry for them now? It's the Eric Andre meme personified. Dude, we're going to get into that on the next Ronversations episode. It's wild. Wild. GRP Poll says, don't come down with the woo flu rackets. Oh, I won't. Aisha Fraser says, if Ron were to settle, would you find a way to spin his story where he's forgivable? Or would you charge attorney fees for that defense? No, they should settle. They should settle. They should absolutely apologize for taking this so far, for over-exaggerating everything, for being retarded spurgs, and they should settle. And then, then we could start the healing process and see what that looks like. Voice of Truth says, you shouldn't follow the lawsuit of Ruby Torres. You should follow the lawsuit of Ruby Torres, an Arizona woman who can't use fertilized embryos without her ex-husband's consent. I saw that. That's an interesting suit. It's changed now. Under a new state statute, she could, but they signed their contract prior to that statute. Asia Fraser says, unfortunately, Ron partook of the dark science that Dr. Jekyll had meddled with and developed a split persona. Ron is a chill guy, but Mr. Soy is a total cuke. That's a long U. Doppler Radar says, why does Doug want Cecil's book deplatformed? I don't know. I don't know about that. All I know is that the fighting in Comicsgate and Anti-Comicsgate is bad for customers. It's bad for creators. It's especially bad for young creators, and it needs to stop. It's stupid. Everybody needs to stop on this. Stuart Postma says, hey, Nick, don't know if this is asked, but are you going to cover the potential SCP lawsuit? Maybe. Nick's Gay Short says, this blender empty? Yeet. Some nobody says, to be fair, it takes a literal plow to plow her. Ick. Gross. All right, now we've got just a couple more. Hugh says, Sean Schemmel is a cuck. Chan Ree says, how dare you, Rekieta? Sorry. Josh says, in my bar prep materials, quote, it is a well-settled legal principle that one is liable for republishing the defamatory statement of another. Neely versus Wilson, Texas Supreme Court, citing Pittsburgh Company versus Human Rel. I don't know what Rel is. U.S. Supreme Court. Wonder if it applies to retweets. That's actually a really good question. It should. And Judge Chupp seems to agree, by the way. That was in the hearing. That was interesting. Pro Hero All Might says, the Dark Night of the Soul. Tell me, Ron, how often do you put on Black Hoodie and listen to My Chemical Romance in the dark? Oh, no. Mr. Scott J87 says, hey, Nick, there's a parental rights case over transgender therapy in Minnesota that could use some exposure. Told the guy to get a hold of you. GoFundMe is Save Miles Gewirtz. Check it out when you can. I think he would like to talk to you. I'd love to talk to him. Very interesting. This is a developing area of law that's very scary for many parents. Chrono Trigger Happy says, in case you don't see the other one, what channel would that possible EverQuest server be posted to on the Discord? Blood Trail. It would probably be on YouTube Gaming because I think it would go against Twitch's terms of service against custom game streams. So that's that. All right, guys, here's the outro. Comics Villain says, I want all the drama of CG and anti-CG to stop. I know a lot of people do. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm really frustrated with the recent events. I think Doug and Ethan need to step up and stop fighting. I think they're both leaders in this, and they need to acknowledge that enough. Not tell others what to do, but to do it themselves. And until they do, I don't know what else to say on it. All right, guys, we broke $273,000. $273,020 on the GoFundMe. I just wanted to point that out before we go. Thank you all for your support. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for dealing with my fatigue. And we ended up doing a 3-hour show anyway. Love you all. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Peace.